Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Brian, and I got my little sous chef here with me.
Hi.
All right, me and Stephanie. We're going to be making one of our favorite dishes. We've made this one a bunch of times. We actually first came from this, found this recipe because we found it in your cookbook, and we just made a few minor changes. It was more like a side dish, and we threw some chicken in it, and we made it a complete dish. It's done in mostly one pot. It can be done completely in one pot if you want. What's it called, honey?
Easy peasy chicken and bow tie pasta.
Easy peasy chicken and bow tie pasta. This is one that's really flavorful, and it's a great thing to do in the middle of the week if you have if you want to do it in the middle of the week or take a little bit of extra time and cook it in the weekend. Either way, it's fantastic. It's a go-to for us. We love it all the time. So we're gonna go ahead, get into the ingredients, and then we're gonna start cooking it.
Bye.
All right, so now we're going to go over the ingredients. I'm going to put a list of them in order in the description below, but go ahead, Stephanie, take it away. What are we cooking with here?
This is the bow tie pasta because it looks like bow ties.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of Daddy's favorite things to do.
I do like my bow ties, yep. All right, what's next?
Bacon.
Uh-huh.
It's so delicious. I like pigs. Chicken. Salt. Pepper. And garlic.
Garlic powder, yep.
And chicken curry.
Nope, chicken broth. Chicken broth.
Onions, flour, milk, butter, Parmesan cheese.
And then Parmesan cheese, yep. So the pasta's already cooked. I did that a little bit in advance before this. And the bacon. I cooked that also. Now, I also cooked the chicken, so I cooked the bacon first, kept the fat in the pan, and then browned and cooked the chicken. It does add a little bit of extra time, but I like it that way. If you have the time, I recommend you go ahead and actually cook the chicken. But if you don't have the time, there's nothing wrong with getting like a rotisserie chicken and just shredding it apart. You're going to want about this is about two boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I cooked. So I would say that's about a good, 2 cups worth of chicken. So if you're using a roasted chicken, you're going to want to go ahead and shred that to about 2, maybe 2.5 cups to your liking. The only other ingredient that's not here that we're going to add in at the end, and it's right now in my freezer, are some frozen peas. We're going to put half a bag of frozen peas in. So we've got the pasta, we've got the chicken, we've got peas. This is a complete meal here. So that's the ingredients. Now let's get to cooking. All right, so now what we're going to do before we actually start throwing things in the frying pan, we're going to go ahead and take that chicken broth. Now, that is homemade chicken broth that I made. I'm going to show you how to make that in another video, all right? But we're going to go ahead. It's cold. It's not hot because otherwise you throw the flour in, it's just going to clump right up. All right, and so we're going to add, so that was about a cup, about 3/4 of a cup maybe of chicken broth. And we're going to add to it about 2 tablespoons of flour.
This looks like yeast.
It looks like what, honey?
The yeast that we made with the bread.
It kind of does look like a little yeast in water. That's right. But it's not.
Yeah.
It's flour and chicken broth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, we wanted to do it cold because otherwise it's going to clump up tremendously if you put it in hot. Now, make sure you scrape down the sides of the bowls, right, Steph?
Yeah.
Look over on this side, honey. Right over there. There's a little bit. There you go. Get it all, right? And we're going to whisk this up till those clumps disappear. There you go. Now whisk it together, baby. All right. So, all right. So now we do that. Once that's, I think that's pretty good, Steph. A little bit in lumps, but we can take care of that. All right, looking good, Steph. Now we're going to move over to the frying pan. All right, so I've got right now the pan preheated. So the pan is going to be hot. And what we're going to do is we're going to make almost like a pseudo roux, okay? We're not going to make a traditional roux because I don't want it to really brown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking the butter, melting the butter in there. And then what I would do is add the chicken broth traditionally and then add the flour. And we're going to let the flour kind of cook into it and make a roux. Well, today I'm not going to do that because usually a roux, what you want to do is the longer the flour cooks, the more brown it gets, and it kind of gives it a distinct color and flavor. So just so it doesn't brown, what I'm going to do is go ahead and actually, like you saw earlier, have my sous chef mix in the flour into the chicken broth. It's going to make it just an easier, nicer mixture when I do it. Now, if you would rather go ahead and make a traditional roux, you can. You would do the flour separate. So that way it kind of toasts the flour a little bit. Okay, honey, can I have the soup? All right. So that's the chicken broth and the flour all mixed together. So we're going to go ahead, put that in. And I'm going to put this on like a medium low. We're just going to go ahead, toast it a little bit. Get those flavors together. Mix in that flour and the butter and the chicken soup. Okay? And we're going to let this go for a little bit. Get all these flavors working together. Alright, Stephanie, what's the next thing we're going to add in a little bit, baby?
Milk.
Alright, the next thing we're going to do is add in milk. How much milk is that, Steph? What does it say on the measuring cup, baby?
1 cup.
Alright. I don't know if you guys heard that, but my sous chef says that that's 1 cup of milk. And again, this is one of those that once you take out the chicken, so if you used a roaster chicken, it's going to cut the prep time tremendously in half. This is an easy weeknight meal, like if you got track or dance or cheerleading like we have, right? And you don't have a lot of time. Get a roaster, shred it the night before, and then just go ahead and cook this up. It is a fantastic meal. Easy. Cooking time is a joke. I said earlier on that this could be a one-pot meal if you wanted to make the bow tie pastas in this, so that way it's only one dish to cook or to clean. But if not, you're going to want to cook the bow tie pastas in advance. Okay, so I already cooked them in advance, so that way you're just throwing it all in. Okay. We'll let that go a little bit more, kind of brown up just a little bit more. But I don't want it to brown too much. I want this to be a nice, light, creamy looking cheese sauce that we're going to be working with. Okay? All right, sous chef, you want to go ahead and get that milk?
And I have it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. So again, this is 1 cup of milk that we're going to add in. All right. Going to add that in, and again we're just incorporating all these flavors together, all these ingredients. All right, so it's going to turn into a nice sauce slowly. All right, you don't want to take, this is one of those steps where you're going to want to take your time a little bit. All right. I'll tell you what, Stephanie, you want to go in that drawer and get me that big red whisk? I think that'll do a better job than the spoon. And you can see that it's really starting to come together as a nice sauce. We'll put the rest of that in now.
Here's the whisk.
All right, thank you, dear. I'm going to put that spoon aside. And we're just going to go ahead and whisk this together so it gets to a nice consistency. So I've got the heat now on like a medium. We're just going to go ahead and just mix it so that milk really incorporates into that roux that we had going on. And that's really starting to come together nicely.
That's right.
That's right. Tell them, girl.
That's right.
All right, what ingredient is next, honey?
The cheese.
All right, how much cheese do we have? Do you know?
No.
I measured it in advance. So we've got a half a cup of Parmesan cheese that we're going to throw in. So let that smooth in a little bit more. Yeah, go ahead. Bring the step stool over. So remember, you don't want to touch the pan because it's super hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to turn that down a smidge. I don't want it to scald. All right, so go ahead. Don't touch the pan, honey. There you go. Nice and high. Good job. All right.
Can I go get that in the TV?
You can go put that in the sink. And then what other ingredient were we going to throw in, baby?
The salt and pepper and garlic powder.
That's right. Salt, pepper, and garlic powder, the seasonings. Yep. All right, go ahead. Throw that in.
High and slow.
High and slow.
High and slow.
All right, here we go. Oh, this is looking good right here. I think we have a pretty nice sauce working here right now. Now, normally you don't want to whisk this if you have one of those old traditional metal whisks, but I got these that are coated, so I don't have to worry about scratching that pan. What do you think, Steph? Does that look good?
Yeah, maybe we should add more ingredients.
I think we should add some more ingredients. All right, what's next?
Frozen peas.
All right, so now we're going to incorporate in frozen peas. I've got about half a bag of frozen peas. And again, it's just easy. It's one of those things that these are nice to have in the freezer just for like a last second late night, meal. Go ahead and throw that in. What else is going in here, baby?
Onions and bacon. I'm going to do the bacon first.
We're going to do the onions first, please.
Okay.
Yep. All right, now that sauce is... Thank you. All right, and then we're going to put the onions in. And you can see this is really coming through nice. This is getting nice and thick. I may actually want to add a little bit more milk to make this a little bit less thick and make it a little bit more saucy. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. If you can adjust, and that's the beauty of this, you can adjust this however you want. So if you want to make it thicker, you can. If you want to make it creamier, you can. So let's see what 2 or 3 more tablespoons will do. I don't want to overdo it because these peas and the onions, when they cook, they are going to release a little bit extra moisture as well. Like those frozen peas, so they've got a little bit of moisture in them, and the onions as well. Now, I went ahead and I cut the onions in advance. Again, if you're not big onto onions, you can go ahead and substitute those out. This is also one of those things where you can add in mushrooms if you like that. You can kind of do whatever you wanted. Throw in maybe some diced carrots if you wanted a little bit of a different flavor. All right, I think that's good. What's next, Chef?
Bacon.
All right, let's throw some bacon in there. All right, so I got about 4 strips of bacon that I cut up and cooked earlier on. And again, if you're using boneless, skinless chicken breast and you're going to take the time to go ahead and make that from scratch, cook the bacon first, dice up the chicken into bite-sized bits, and then cook the bacon in that, cook the chicken in that bacon rendering. All right, this is looking good. All right. And I think I'm just going to add just a smidge more milk. Just a smidge more milk. Just to thin it just a smidge more. Thank you. Just a little. I think that's going to be perfect right there.
Me too.
All right, now what ingredient is going in next, baby?
The chicken.
All right. So we're going to go ahead, throw that in.
You don't want to dump the whole thing, I just like.
How about I do it? It's a little bit big for you, baby.
And the pasta.
All right. Well, the pasta's last. Yep. Now again, this is all cooked, so I don't have to worry about cooking. All we're really doing is just incorporating all the flavors together, mixing all of this together, and really just heating these elements all up. Right now the bacon's cold, the chicken's a little bit cold, so we're just going to go ahead and heat this all up. Okay? And then the last ingredient, sous chef? There you go, baby. Let's do it. So yeah, this is coming together beautifully, and you can see this is one pan, one pot. I mean, obviously, I used extra bowls just because I was prepping this video and everything. I do actually love prepping all of my ingredients in advance. If you're somebody that kind of flies off the, however you want to do it, and you just do things as you go, that's fine. But I really enjoy taking the time in advance and having everything prepped. So I really like doing that. But this is pretty much good to go. So we're just going to let this just come all together, come up to temperature. And again, if you think this is not creamy enough, you can go ahead and add some more milk. But I think this is exactly the consistency that I want it to be right here. This is good. Now, if you're afraid it's actually going to reduce down too much while you're heating all the elements up, you can go ahead and actually cover it. That'll help, or just add a little bit more milk. But this right here, this is perfect. Now, if you think that it's actually too creamy and you wanted it a little bit thicker, one of two things you could do is take a little bit of water, throw about maybe a tablespoon of flour in it, mix that together and then incorporate that in, or throw a little bit of extra cheese in it. But I think this is just about done. So give us a couple more minutes to heat up, and then that's it. We are good to go. All right, so we are done. There it is, the easy peasy chicken and bow tie pasta. All right, get chicken, bow ties, cheese, bacon, peas. I think this is gonna be amazing. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right, let's check this out. Let's give it a shot. Good chicken. And don't talk with your mouth full. What do you think? What do you like the best? Thumbs down?
No, I was pointing at it.
Oh, but what part of this is best?
The whole thing.
The whole thing? Yeah, this is one of ours that we love doing. And like I said, it's really quick and easy, especially once you prep the ingredients. Or even, like I said, the rotisserie chicken's so fast. It's the way to go. But this is good. I'm going to get some bacon in this one. So I hope you guys like this. We'll get some more. We're eating good tonight. I hope you guys like this. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you incorporate this into your weeknight meal planning. And let me know what you think. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you later.